Hi everyone, so I'm going to show you how to do some basic addition. We're going to go kind of fast, but at least if you want, you can replay the video when you have a minute. We're going to try and go all the way from just one digit and one digit addition all the way up to like 5 digits and 2 digits. So let's get started. The most basic question, let's start with 0 plus 0. 0 can actually, oddly enough, be kind of a tricky number to deal with. Because it looks confusing. You're like, well, I've got nothing and I've got nothing and I'm trying to add it together and I should have something. Oddly enough, like if I've got nothing, I still have nothing. So I line up my numbers, one on top of the other, and my answer is going to go right underneath. So 0 plus 0 equals 0. So those are our very first little taste of addition. Next question I want to show you is 1 plus 0. So now we actually have something, we're adding it to nothing. But we need to always have our numbers on top of each other, lined up in a row. So I've got 1, I've got nothing, and I add 1 to nothing, and well, no, not 0, 1 from nothing, but 1 to nothing is 1. So 1 plus 0 is 1. I write my number right underneath. I want to show you though what this looks like if I've got, so 1 plus 0 equals 1, what it looks like if it's written upside down. In this case here, it doesn't matter. If the 1 is on the top or 1 is on the bottom. If I were saying what is 2 plus 3, what is 3 plus 2, it doesn't matter what number is on the top, what's on the bottom. So 1 plus nothing is 1, nothing plus 1 is also 1. And again, we just line them up and we write our answer directly underneath. So let's look at the next one. 1 plus 1. So now it's a little bit harder because we're adding something to something. But still, we line them up, one on top of each other. And I've got 1, I add it together, and I've got 2. So 1 plus 1 equals 2. I write the answer underneath. Let's do something a little bit harder. 3 plus 4. So it's a little bit harder because the numbers are a little bit bigger. They're still not going to equal a number that's over 9, which is kind of nice for us. So I've got my 3 fingers, I'm going to have my 4, and even, let's do this visually, right? I've got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to add my 4 plus my 3, so 4, 5, 6, 7. My answer is 7. I'm going to write it directly underneath, kind of manageable. It's going to get a little harder after here. Oh, but before I move on, actually, I want to show you, so we got this, the difference now is if I say 4 plus 3, it's the exact same thing. So whether my 3 is on the bottom or my 4 is on the top, it doesn't matter in this case. 4 plus 3 is also still 7. I write it directly underneath the numbers that I am adding together. So this now is where addition can start to get a little bit harder, is when we add a number and another number and the answer is going to be bigger than 9. And let me show you why. So when we add one number and another number, we're trying to put the answer directly underneath. But watch this. I've got 5, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm adding 6 to it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 plus 5, so 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So my answer is 11. The tricky thing though is that when we add, we're supposed to add things in columns. And I'm not really supposed to squish 2 numbers in the space that really is only supposed to be occupied by 1 number. So when I do this, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to just be a little bit tricky here. I'm going to say, you can still do this. 5 plus 6 equals 11. What we have to do is we have to divide our number. The right-hand number is going to go on the right. The left-hand number, because it's too big for this column, we have to put it in the next column. So in theory, so let me just actually put this addition mark right over here, okay? What I would do is I would take this number and I would put it right on top of any other number that would come to the left of it. If there's nothing and there's nothing, then the 1 that I have, that I brought all the way up here and I put up here, the 1 would actually just add nothing and nothing, so I'm going to put in a 0 and a 0. 1 plus nothing and nothing is 1. And so let me just show you how this looks different, okay? So if I am adding 5 plus 6, this doesn't look hugely different than 5 plus 6. This doesn't look hugely different. The difference is that here I'm squishing in 2 digits underneath my numbers. I'm only supposed to have, it's only ever really supposed to be 1 number, 1 number, 1 number, 1 number, 1 number, all the way down. Over here though, I've spaced it out. So I've got 1 column and I've got another column. We can't tell yet because I don't have other numbers on the board yet. But when you're doing your math, you want to try and make sure that you only have 1 number per column. So let's look at the next one. 7 plus 8. 7 plus plus 8. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So my answer is 15. So this is again where I would say my right-hand number goes on the right. My left-hand number would come all the way up here. It's going to go hang out at the top because we're going to add it the next time we do this. That was too fast. We can only deal with one column at a time. My 15 can't fit in one column, so I have to kind of break it apart. I can only put in one digit here. So I'm going to add it to this column. There just doesn't happen to be any numbers in it yet. But when you're dealing with bigger numbers, you'll see that there is going to be a number there. So my number 1 is going to come right up here. There's nothing here. There's nothing here. So I'm going to say, what is 1 plus 0 plus 0? The answer is 1. So as you can see here, if I were to draw a line right through my question, I've got one column here. I've got one column here. So now we're going to try and add 2 digits plus 1 digit. So what I've got is, again, I don't have to do this, but I'm going to draw lines so that I know where my numbers need to be. So 2 plus 1 is 3. 1 plus nothing is 1. So 1 plus 2 is 3. 1 plus nothing is 1. Again, because I'm not really good, this question isn't too hard yet. It doesn't look any different than 11 plus 2 being 13 squished underneath, but this does come into play later, so we want to make sure that our numbers are always in a very nice, neat column. Okay, what I want to show you before I move on is how we align our numbers. So, because it matters where we put our numbers. In English, when we write and when we read, we write and read from left to right. So I would say, for example, the dog, oh my gosh, I can't spell, is going from left to right. When we do math, a lot of the time, we have to go right to left. Our numbers have to line up on the right-hand side. And I want to show you why this is a big deal. Okay? So let's say I've got 4, 1, 2, 3, plus 4, 1, 2, 3, plus 4. So in each of these questions, I have put the 4 in a slightly different spot. The problem is that we're going to end up with a much different number depending on where I put my 4. So it does matter where the numbers line up. So when we add, we always add top down, top down, top down. So in this case, if I'm going in this direction, I'm going to add 3 plus nothing to mean 3. If I add 2 plus nothing, that's 2. 4 plus 1 is 5. Well, I can tell you, if we look at the number 123, and we're only adding in 4, how on earth do we get up to 500? Like, that doesn't make sense. You can see how by 4 being in the wrong spot, we're getting a number that is way too big. If I put it in the middle, the number is going to be slightly less big, but still too big. So 3 plus, and again, if I'm going top down, 3 plus nothing is 3. 2 plus 4 is 6. 1 plus nothing is 1. Well, these numbers are very different from each other simply because of where we put the 4. We always have to squish everything to the right and then move our way left. In this case, 4 is in the proper spot. I'm going to put like a tick mark. We need stuff to line up first on the right, and then we can push it to the left after. So 4 plus 3 is 7. 2 plus nothing is 2. 1 plus nothing is 1. So as you guys can see, these are 3 very different numbers because of where we put the 4. Only one of them is correct. We have to always have our number line up on the right-hand side. Otherwise, it's going to be incorrect. So again, when we have a question like this, 11 plus 2 would look very different than 11 plus 2, set up like this. This is going to be our correct question, okay? 2 plus 1 is 3, 1 plus nothing is 1. Our numbers have to start, all of the numbers have to meet on the right-hand side. Over here, if I did it incorrect, remember you can't do it this way, 1 plus nothing is 1, 2 plus 1 would be 3. So you can see how different our numbers are based on where I line things up. So they have to be in the correct spot. So when we come to a number that is 2 digits plus 2 digits, we're okay because we tend to think, okay, well, just one number on top of the other, not a big deal. 1 plus 1 is 2, 1 plus 1 is 2, not a big problem. Let's now do something where it's an even bigger number. 110 plus 2. So even though I have 3 numbers adding to one number, I always make sure my numbers line up on the right-hand side. So 2 plus 0 is 2. 1 plus nothing, if I have nothing, then it's the same as 0, is 1. 1 plus nothing is 1. So again, even though my original question is what is 110 plus 2, all I have to do is just add from the right to the left. Let's now add 3 digits and 3 digits. So 1, 1, 1 plus 2, 3, 4. This is kind of a nice question because I don't have to carry over. I'll explain carryover in just a minute. Again, we always add top to bottom. So 1 plus 4 is 5. 1 plus 3 is 4. 1 plus 2 is 3. And this is how we add top to bottom. Our numbers are lined up on the right-hand side. Okay. 3, 6, 7 plus 9, 8, 4. So now we're going to add 3 numbers to 3 other numbers. The problem with this, though, is that our numbers are too big. Because let me show you what happens. Anytime that I'm adding something and it becomes bigger than 9, it makes it really hard for me to manage what's going on down here. So let me show you the wrong way. I'm going to put a little X here. This is the wrong way, okay? If I said, what is 7 plus 4? So 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So it's 11. I put in my 11. This is the wrong way, okay? 6 plus 8, so 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 9 plus 3, 9, 10, 11, 12. There is no way that 300 and 900 is going to equal 121,000. That's way too big of a number. So this is what we call carryover. Carry over. This is when we take numbers that are too big and we put part of it, we save it for another time. So let me show you how we're going to actually attack this in a way that is logical, okay? So this is now going to be the correct way, okay? So we know 7 plus 4, I'm going to use my fingers, so 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 7 plus 4 equals 11. My right-hand number comes down on the right. My left-hand number is going to come up here and hover over top of the next numbers that I'm going to add because I can only ever have one number per column. Anything else, I'm just going to kind of push over and deal with it when I get to it. So now I'm going to go and add 6 and 8 like I normally would, so 8. So let's just so you can see, so 6 plus 8, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. But I also have this extra one up here. So I'm going to say 14 plus 1 equals 15. So this is now where my right-hand number is going to go on the right. My left-hand number is going to come on up on the next column because I can only do one number and then the rest I'm just going to keep pushing left and I'm going to push left until I can deal with it. So now I'm going to have my 9 plus 3 like I normally did. 9 plus 3, so 9, 10, 11, 12. But I also have to add in the extra 1. All right, so 9 plus 3 is 12. Plus we have to add in the 1 that's on top. So 12 plus 1 equals 13. So this is where my right-hand number is going to go right here on the right. My left-hand number is going to come all the way up here on the left. Now it just happens that there's no number here, so no number is the same as 0, right? Nothing, nothing. 1 plus 0 is 1. So as you guys can see, there's a ton of lines and numbers and everything going on. But when I did carryover, I just simply took my number and whatever didn't fit, whatever number was on the left, I just pushed it to the left, saved it for another day. I'm going to carry on with the next question. If that was confusing, you might want to just kind of pause, go back, watch that section again, okay? So 1, 0, 0, 1, 2. So zeros, I have a hard time with 0. I don't know, 0 really throws me for a loop. So here's a question with a bunch of zeros. The nice thing though is that even though we see a 0 and you might panic a little bit, we still just add top to bottom. So if I put lines in between my numbers, what is 1 plus 0? 1 plus 0 is 1. Nothing plus nothing is nothing. Nothing plus nothing is nothing. 1 plus 2 is 3. So even though it looks like a really hard question because it's super long, there's 4 digits in each question, we just simply add top to bottom the way we normally would. 16 plus 18. I know that this question has carryover in it because anything that I add that's bigger than 9 means that I have to divide the question and put part of it in one spot and part of it in the other. So again, you don't have to, but I like to put the line in between so that I know that I've got columns and my numbers are only going to have, my columns are only going to have one number per column. So 8 plus 6, so 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 8 plus 6 equals 14. I take my 4, my right-hand number goes on the right. It goes here. My left-hand number goes up on the left. Now I add the column as though the 1 were already a part of the question. 1 plus 2 plus 3, there we are, 34. Let me show you one more time, okay? And just because we can, actually I'm gonna make this like a really long, hard question. So let's go 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, plus, let's go 6, 5, 6, 8, 9. This is a really long question and it's very hard and I'm actually panicking a little bit because this is hard stuff. So first thing we do is we put in our lines so that way we have our columns and we know that our numbers are going to be exactly where they need to be. So you're going to see a lot of arrows all over this question. First things first, we have to go 9 plus 9. So 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So 9 plus 9 equals 18. My right-hand number goes on the right. Oh my gosh, 8. My left-hand number comes up on the left. And again, we only do this because if I put in my full 18, my number is not going to be correct as I'm adding it up. So I put down part of it, the part that I can't fit in, I just push on for later, and now it's later, and now I have to deal with this. So now I'm going to go 8 plus 8. So 8 plus 8 equals, so 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Oops, but look at this. We have this 1 that we have to deal with. So now I'm going to go 16 plus 1 equals 17. My right-hand number goes on the right. My left-hand number comes up on the left. Now I'm drawing my arrow this way just so that there's not a million arrows on the right. Doesn't matter where you draw your arrow, as long as the number, the left-hand number, goes to the very next column. I don't get a choice. I don't get to be like, oh, we'll put it here. No, it immediately has to go on the very next one on the left. So now 7 plus 6. So let me just do, actually, I think you guys have got room over here. I think so. Okay, so 7 plus 6 equals, so I've got 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So 7 plus 6 equals 13, but I also have to add in this 1. So 13 plus 1 equals 14. So this is where my right-hand number goes on the right. So my 4 is going to come down here. My left-hand number goes on the left. My 1 is going to come up here. This is a long question, and this is really hard. So now we're going to add 5 plus 6. So 5 plus 6 equals, so 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. But I also have this 1 that's been carried over. So 11 plus 1 equals 12. The right-hand number goes on the right. The left-hand number, whoa, goes right up here on the left. Now I have to add 6 and 5. We're almost finished. 6 plus 5, so 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. But I still have to add in this extra 1. So 11 plus 1 equals 12. This is where, again, my right-hand number goes on the right. My left-hand number kind of comes all the way up here, goes on the left. But there's no number here, no number 0. There's no number here, number 0. So I'm going to go 1 plus 0 equals 1. So this is a lot of stuff going on. We had to do carryover every step of the way. But as you guys could see, as long as I have my right-hand number on the right, my left gets carried over to the very next question on the left, then we are good to go, and we can do this nice and slowly.